It's the middle of November 2025. Some people are already presenting their best phone awards for the year 2025, but in this video I'm going to give you the best Chinese phones right now. And we're gonna be starting with the first one. The first contender is the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. The phone that looks alike the Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max, has the same model name but has a screen on the back. The second contender is going to be this beautiful phone here. This is the Oppo X9 Pro. Exquisite 200 megapixel zoom camera, the good stuff, and because all good things comes in three, the last one in this series is gonna be the Vivo X300 Pro. You know, right? Vivo and cameras, pro phones that almost always recipe for a good camera smartphone. So in this video, I'm going to unbox them, show to you guys what you can find inside the very big packages. I mean, come on, when was the last time we got a big box like this from a global vendor, or a European one, or an American one? I can tell you, almost like 3-4 years ago. And besides the unboxing, I'm gonna be running some basic comparisons, some tests, and then very soon you can expect a full-blown camera review. The Vivo X300 Pro also comes with the good stuff, guys, the latest sensors and the 200 megapixel zoom. The Xiaomi 17 Pro Max, well, 50 megapixel, 50 megapixel and 50 megapixel. That's the recipe of Xiaomi. Let's put them on my review table and let's start. Let's start with the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. Yes, this is really the max phone because it actually has the biggest display among them all with 6.9 inches, guys. In the packaging, you're gonna find the standard things such as this translucent case. It's gonna be here. The SIM card ejector. This is also the phone that has the fastest wired charging, 100 watts. And respect to Xiaomi, because the 17 Pro Max is the only phone that has at least 512 gigabyte storage. Yes, even the version that I'm using, which only has 12 GB of RAM. Basically, you can get half a terabyte of storage with 16 GB of RAM and up to 1 terabyte of storage with 16 GB of RAM. Both the Vivo and the Oppo start at 256 gigabytes internal storage. Now let's check this beauty. This is the Vivo X300 Pro. Yeah, the design is very familiar. We've seen this last year in the Vivo X200 Ultra, and yes, it still does have one of the best telephoto cameras, but this time they took it even one step further, because right now the 200 megapixel sensor that is inside is a custom sensor for Samsung that is deeply customized by Vivo, and they're calling it the ISOCELL HPB Thanos, all right, which is a reference to another very cool model from Vivo. And yes, here we do have a 6.78 inches of a screen. But take a look at the packaging. Impressive. Vivo does not disappoint. So inside we're gonna be finding this case, which is again, yeah, like a soft plastic case from Vivo. And then guys, here we're gonna have the usual stuff. By the way, this looks very similar to the charger that is used on the Xiaomi, and it's even bigger, but this thing provides only 90 watts wired charging. Okay, but what are 10 watts, right? Now let's check the last contender. And this is the beautiful Fine X9 Pro by Oppo. And take a look at this design. I had a chance to see OnePlus 15 in person, probably best design for this year. This is so similar, but the camera bump is a bit bigger because this monster also uses the 200 megapixel sensor from Samsung, the ISOCELL HP5, but not the customized one that we have in the Vivo. So what is in the box? As you can see, a very nice looking box, probably the smaller from all three. This is gonna be again a soft shell case, this being the Super VOOC adapter and probably the smallest from them all. Yeah, by the way, no, still the Xiaomi's adapter is the fastest and the smallest, because the Super VOOC on the Oppo can do 80 watts wired charging. And yeah, you get a standard set of cables and a SIM card ejector. Here they are, the best Chinese smartphones right now, or if not the best, I guess the latest one, the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max, the Oppo Fine X9 Pro and the Vivo X300 Pro. There are a lot of things that are very in common among all these three devices, but there are some very distinctive things. For example, the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max is the only one that is using the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 built on a 3nm process. 3nm process is also used on the Oppo and the Vivo, but they are betting their cuts on the latest MediaTek Dimensity 9500. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this compares. We talked about the storage. This baby starts from 0.5 TB. This thing here is the 16 0.5 TB version, and this thing here is 12 GB of RAM and 256. The other very big distinctive area is apparently what happens on the back of the screen. And yes, I'm talking about the cameras. So if we have to compare the camera setup just from a technical specification, I'll say the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max is probably the weakest camera. Why? Well, here we do have a 50 megapixel main wide camera, a Light Fusion 950L with a sensor size of 1/1.288. So the telephoto camera here, guys, is also Samsung, but it's ISOCELL GN8 and is 50 megapixel, and of course the sensor size is smaller than this thing here. It's 1/1.95. But here we do have 5x optical zoom, and the ultra wide camera is where things get a bit weird, because the ultra camera on this phone isn't the best. A 50 megapixel ultra wide camera from OmniVision. Let's talk about the Oppo Find X9 Pro. It has a very similar camera setup with the Vivo X300 Pro, at least what the main camera is concerned, because the main camera is again 50 megapixel, but is using Sony latest LIT 828, which has a sensor size of 1/1.28, which is exactly the same as the main sensor we have here, but here, guys, we do have OmniVision Light Hunter. Here we have Sony LIT 828 here in the Oppo and also in the Vivo. What about the ultra wide cameras? Yes, both of them Samsung sensors, 50 megapixel, but the main differentiator is the 200 megapixel optical zoom camera, guys. The one on the Oppo can do 3x optical zoom and it takes it from there, and the one in the Vivo, being the customized Samsung sensor, starts from 3.7 optical zoom. So potentially this should be the best telephoto camera among all them three, but we are going to see that. There are some others very interesting elements. Xiaomi kindly took the design language from Apple and also inspired the model name, and by putting this back screen, yeah, kind of looks really like an iPhone 17 Pro Max, also with a model name. But Xiaomi is also a phone that does not have an action button. The Oppo does not only have this action camera, which we know it's kind of Apple inspired, but it has also, yeah, this focus button, or whatever they call it, like a focus button, action button, I'm not sure. What about the Vivo, guys? So, praise to Vivo. Yeah, you can see only the volume rocker, a power button, very clean design, guys. And there is something here that reminds me of Apple again. And here we are on the front, and this is where things get so interesting, and I would say also very similar. Let me try to show you the lock screens, guys. This is the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max, and I'm using HyperOS lock screen and then home screen. This thing here, being the Oppo Find X9 Pro, uses the Color OS, and last but not least we have the Vivo X300 Pro, and it's using, what the heck is going on? The Origin OS. All of them running Android 16. HyperOS version 3. Here we do have the Color OS 16, and here we do have the Origin OS 6. I know, take a look at this. They look, yeah, almost like the same phone. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but you can see almost no bezel. So that's absolutely fantastic, guys. So what I want to really very quickly show you, and again, this is not going to be an in-depth comparison, which is going to appear on the channel very soon. Let me show something, okay? I'm going to show you, this is the control center, all right? This is how it looks on the Vivo with the Origin OS 6. This is now on the Oppo with the Color OS 16, and yes, this is on the Xiaomi. So you can see that they're not really so creative, and it looks inspired by other vendors out there, and it also kind of looks the same, with the differences that, okay, some buttons can be a bit different, but at the end of the day, yeah, this is what you get. And of course they do share the very same design element with very flat screens and these curved edges. let's discuss some of the specs. I want to cover some important topics, display being one of them. The Vivo X300 Pro has an LTPO AMOLED display able to produce 1 billion colors. It's the same here and it's the same here. 120 Hz across all three of them. They can do Dolby Vision, they can do HDR, HDR10+. The Xiaomi 17 Pro Max is able to go up to 3500 nits peak brightness. The Oppo Find X9 Pro 100 nits more, 3600, and Vivo are claiming that their device can reach the whopping 4500 nits. But we need to understand that this can only happen in a very small surface, probably like 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, in a very specific scenario. So yeah, just don't take this really for granted. This is the resolution on all of the three phones, but probably the biggest differentiator here is what powers them. Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. This is the cluster setup, guys. We have 2 big cores, 4.61 GHz, and then 6 cores at 3.63 GHz. This thing here is using MediaTek latest Dimensity chip, guys, and you can see it as a different setup. We have 3 clusters, unlike 2 here, 1 big core running at 4.21 GHz, 3 middle cores at 3.5 GHz, and then 4 smaller cores for efficiency at 2.70 GHz. And then again, because it's MediaTek and Mali, we do have differences in the GPU, because here we're using Qualcomm Adreno 840, and inside the Oppo and the Vivo we're using the latest Mali G1 Ultra MC12. All three phones are using UFS 4.1 for the storage inside. Let's check the batteries. 7500 mAh for the Xiaomi and also for the Oppo, and only 6510 mAh silicon carbon, guys. The latest and greatest stuff. With that said, it's time for me to start the first benchmark, and it's gonna be a single run of Geekbench, just to try to see what the phones can do stock out of the box. And we got the first results. Yes, the Xiaomi seems to be very impressive for this score. 3448 versus 3297, and even not 3200. And here, guys, more than 10,000, almost 9,800 and almost 9,500 on the multi-core score. Our next test is going to be the Wildlife Extreme. So let's just try to run this for one round and see some of the temps that we're gonna get. What about temps right now? Well, we can see that we started like 32 for the Xiaomi. So I guess it's circa the same. We can see that the phones are already heating. We're gonna do another measurement at the end, and then of course also compare the scores. And the Xiaomi is ready first, then the Oppo, and then the Vivo. Let's try to take a reading. This is usually the hottest area, 43 Celsius for the Xiaomi. Okay, let's try to see what happens with the Oppo. Okay, around here. All right, 42 for that one round. And let's try to also see what happened with the Vivo. Again, probably here the hottest area. Okay, 41. What about the result? We have a clear winner here, and this is the Oppo with a whooping 7,230 overall score, absolutely killing the Vivo and obliterating the Xiaomi. So for a reason, Xiaomi is probably toning down with 3D Mark because it's not pumping that much. Even my S25 Ultra with the Snapdragon 8 Elite is beating this. Only 6,013 here. Here, guys, almost 7,000. But yeah, the clear winner is the Oppo. Let's try to check some internal temp readings. As you can see, not a problem, being only one round of 3D Mark. 32 to 35 Celsius, 30 to 31, and 31 to 34. So according to the internal temp reading, probably the Oppo being the coolest one. And honestly, guys, just take a look at this. In terms of design, I have a feeling I'll rank it like this. The Oppo seems to be the coolest one for me. Why? Not that the Vivo is bad, but yeah, it's not something new. I mean, we kind of been used to this since at least 2 or 3 years. The Xiaomi is interesting, and I'm probably gonna rank it second because right now the back rear display is just a bit useless. But if you have been following my channel, you know there are some great devs out there. They created a tool called the Mi Rear Screen Switcher, and it's amazing. You can pretty much do everything with this back screen. So design, this is the best for me. Second place, sadly, the Vivo is not grabbing me with its design. But where the Vivo can potentially shine, guys, is this crazy camera here. Why? Well, I'm gonna find out in my full camera comparison, but before we go there, I just want to explore some basic features. Because guys, what we already know is that the Xiaomi has some limitations that I'm not really very fond of. What are those limitations? Well, you're not able to shoot portrait video with 4K resolution, which is a bit annoying. I want to see what the Oppo Find X9 Pro can do, so this is the video. I'm gonna go to the back camera. I'm going to switch here to 4K 60 because I don't think it can do 4K 60. I'm gonna try to play with a bokeh, and yep, the Oppo Find X9 Pro can apparently do 4K 30 portrait video. Let's try to check the Vivo. I'm now in the portrait video mode, and guys, I'm gonna switch to 4K 60 FPS. Can we do? Yeah! Preview shots at 30 FPS, but it's gonna be optimized, so it seems that I can do portrait video 4K 60 on the Vivo X300 Pro, portrait video 4K 30 with the Oppo Find X9 Pro, guys. And let me show you, this is a bit embarrassing. So when I go inside the video, alright, and we can see that I'm shooting 4K 60, and I click here and then I click bokeh. The moment I just use the slider, I'm immediately hooked and locked and 1080p 30 FPS. So we have a clear winner in this section. And before I wrap up the video, guys, let's play something that is 4K 60 FPS HDR. And I would like to check the brightness, so I'm just gonna pump the brightness all the way up on all these three very beautiful and powerful phones. And I'm gonna try to start this at the same time. Okay. I'm now inside and it's like 21 Celsius, guys, so I don't expect any surprises. They're all absolutely stunning. All the blacks are so saturated and all the colors. Can I move this to a big screen like this? I can. But it's gonna be very important to check what is gonna happen when you bring those babies and it's hot outside and it's like 35 Celsius, and then who is going to throttle, who is gonna do it first, and who is gonna be second and third. But with this very nice outro, guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. If that's the case, and if you're interested to see what is gonna happen to those phones and the next videos, you're more than welcome to sub for my channel. Thank you so much, stay safe, VST over, and bye.